You ever get that feeling at work? That little voice in your head telling you something's just not right? It's not always the huge, dramatic problems. Sometimes the most toxic issues are the ones hiding in plain sight, the little things we slowly but surely get used to. I mean, look, your job should be this big open door to new opportunities, right? But what if it feels like that door is slowly creaking shut? Well, that's what we're talking about today. Think of this as your field guide for spotting those warning signs, the red flags, before things get really bad. So that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? What are the subtle signs? The little things that tell you a workplace might actually be unhealthy. We're going to break it all down into three main areas, and we'll kick things off with the stuff you run into every single day. All right, first up, your daily work environment. This is all about the red flags you see in management and just how things get done. You know, the nitty-gritty stuff that can totally make or break your day. And kicking us off is a big one. Honestly, this one is kind of the root of almost every other problem you'll ever face at work. Red flag number one, poor communication. So, let's break this down. What does it actually look like? Well, you get unclear instructions, or maybe big changes happen suddenly with zero context. Sound familiar? And the impact? It's not small potatoes. We're talking about constant confusion, mistakes getting made, and a whole lot of frustration between teams who are, let's be honest, just trying to do their jobs. Okay, moving on to our next red flag. And yeah, this picture pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Red flag number two, micromanagement. And look, this isn't just about a boss who's detail-oriented. No. This is when they're constantly checking up on you, giving you absolutely zero freedom to make a decision on your own. And the impact here is massive. It just crushes your confidence and completely kills any sense of ownership. I mean, why bother pouring your heart into something if you know someone's just going to come along and redo it anyway, right? All right, next up is a red flag that is a recipe for chaos and stress day in and day out. Red flag number three, unclear roles. You know that feeling when you're being pulled in a million different directions at once. You're juggling a bunch of totally unrelated tasks, and it feels like nobody really owns anything. Well, that's what we're talking about. And the result? It's a one-way ticket to stress and burnout. Seriously, when nobody knows who's in charge, things get missed. And accountability? Poof, it's gone. Okay, the last red flag in this first section is a quiet one, but don't let that fool you. It can be super damaging. Number four is a lack of feedback. Think about it. If the only time your manager ever talks to you is when something's gone wrong, that's a massive problem. It's like you're trying to navigate your career in the dark with no headlights. And the impact is you just stall out. You stagnate. How can you get better if nobody tells you how? Over time, it just eats away at your confidence. All right, so we've talked about the day-to-day stuff. Now let's zoom out a bit. Let's look at the bigger picture, the overall company culture. These are the red flags you can almost feel in the air. And we're kicking off this section with a real heavy hitter. You hear this term thrown around all the time, but trust me, the effects are very, very real. Red flag number five, a toxic culture. And here's the thing about toxicity. It's not always loud and in your face. A lot of the time, it's way more subtle. It's the endless gossip, the little moments of disrespect, that vibe where everyone's first instinct is to blame someone instead of helping. And what does that do? It creates this environment of fear. Nobody feels safe. And the end result is pretty obvious, right? People leave. A lot of them. They just can't get out of there fast enough. Okay, this one might hit a little too close to home for some of you. Red flag number six, a constant work-life imbalance. So what are we talking about here? It's when working late and checking emails on the weekend becomes normal. It's the expectation, not the exception. It's when there are basically zero boundaries between your work life and your actual life. And the real irony here? Sure, it might seem like the company is getting more out of you in the short run, but long term, it's a straight line to burnout, which actually leads to less productivity for everyone involved. Okay, for our last section, let's get personal. This is all about your career, your growth. These are the red flags that basically scream dead end ahead for your professional future. And the first one in this category is something that can just tank the motivation of even the best employees. Red flag number seven, a lack of recognition. It's really simple, right? It's when your hard work just vanishes into thin air. You put in the extra hours, you go above and beyond, and you get crickets. Not even a simple thank you. So you have to ask yourself,
why would you keep trying so hard? Your motivation just dives, and eventually, you stop going that extra mile. Who wouldn't? Next up is what I like to call the career killer. For real, red flag number 8, limited growth. This is that moment when you kind of look up from your desk and realize, wait a minute, I've been doing the exact same thing for months or maybe even years. There are just no chances to learn anything new. And the result is totally predictable. You check out, you get disengaged, you're bored, and you start polishing up that resume. It's one of the biggest reasons people jump ship these days for sure.
All right, let's get right to it. Let's talk about the one that hits you right in the wallet, the core reason many of us work in the first place. Red flag number 9, unfair pay. This is what happens when you discover that people doing the exact same job as you are getting paid way differently. Or when the whole process of how pay is decided is a complete mystery. There's just no transparency, and it feels incredibly unfair. Because, well, it is. The impact? It's a direct shot to your motivation, and it creates this deep-seated dissatisfaction with your job. And that brings us to our final red flag, number 10. This is the one that just creates this constant low-level buzz of anxiety in the back of your mind every single day. Job insecurity. This is when you have no idea what the future of the company looks like, or, more importantly, your place in it. Roles get shuffled, projects get canceled out of the blue, and rumors are flying all the time. Living with that kind of uncertainty is just exhausting. It breeds anxiety, and really, how can you stay engaged and do good work when you're constantly worried if you'll even have a job next month? So there you have it, 10 big red flags to keep an eye out for. But look, just knowing what they are is only half the battle, isn't it? The real power comes from recognizing these signs in your own workplace. That's the first, most important step, because once you see things clearly, well, that leaves you with a much bigger, much more personal question. What do you do next?